Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of The Dating Widow. So we did episode 1 on Monday, and this episode today, this Facebook Live, is about the exact steps that I took to find the man of my dreams. So, wow. I mean, you guys, widowhood is hard. You know that. And so it took some time. It took work and effort to get myself to the point that I was ready to date. And I got so blessed. So I'm going to tell my whole story and the exact steps that I did to work on my grief, work on myself, to become the person that I wanted to date. So this is all about helping you to become your best self and to do the work that it takes that you need to do to really bring a healthy, vibrant woman to the dating table. So the Dating Widow is all about how to make it fun, easy, and successful, even if you've tried before and it's flopped. Today's a new day, right? So today's a new day and we can make new things happen. And I think I mentioned this on Monday, but when I started receiving multiple direct messages about dating and all the juicy, that's when I knew it was really time to revisit the Dating Widow, this program that Renegade Widow has, and to start bringing it out to our group. So I'm a huge believer in divine appointments, and so that's why we're doing it. I'm super excited. So again, just like I did on Monday, I want to just preface this by saying that if you're not that far along in your journey and you're not ready to even consider dating, please just shut this off. You don't feel like you have to pay attention or be part of this. You certainly don't. So we want to honor and respect where you're at in your journey, but there's a ton of women that are interested in learning this information, which I'm finding out this week more and more and more. So I'm having fun with it. I'm excited to share everything. So that said, and I wrote a lot of notes because I wanted to cover all of the juicy parts of this story. You'll agree that the thought of putting yourself out there, to being vulnerable and considering going on a first date, maybe the first date you've gone on in decades, that is very, very daunting. And as a widow, it's even more daunting. And so that's why I really wanted to put this series together, to kind of work through some of this and help bring some clarity to the situation. So speaking of which, you'll notice I use the term widowed woman. And the reason is because I don't want to, give you the badge name of widow. Just like an addict that says, I'm an addict. Well, I mean, yeah, studies show that they have a long time for recovery and everything, but that's putting an umbrella on our head, and that's kind of pigeonholing us into something that I don't think we all want to stay in. Some women do. Some women are proud, or not proud, but they want to wear widowhood like a badge, and we're always going to be part of that woman. But there's also a vibrant, fresh, exciting new future for you if you allow it. So today, as part of the Dating Widow series, in episode 2, I want to share again the exact same steps that I took to reclaim, renew, and redesign myself in widowhood, because I had, I feel like havoc. I feel like a tsunami had gone through my life and wreaked havoc on my life. And so here's the steps. Step 1, I took plenty of time for my grief. For me, it was a year and a half. So over the course of about 18 months, I went to a grief counselor, a grief share group, one that was for everybody, not just widowed women. Next, I found a support group for widowed women and men. And to this day, I'm still friends with many of the women that I met there almost 8 years ago. So I want to point out that it's hard to know what's best for everybody. we have so many similarities, but there's so many differences, and you just have to do what works for you. I have a cough drop in my mouth. I've been having a raspy voice for months. You guys know that. So what I did, so there was a point that for like the 15 months, there was other ways of grieving, numbing with binge watching Netflix. I've watched Desperate Housewives series 3 times and they're hilarious. I think they're so funny. And I loved the characters, but there was always a level of denial and anger. And sorry, until we address that, it won't go away. It's like putting a Band-Aid on an abscess and expecting it to get better. You have to actually clean the infection out, or the sadness, the gunk, the grief, the anger, the denial, whatever it is. So when my son died, which was 1.5 years after my husband, yes, I went into complete denial. I acted like a preteen at the park. I just was silly and crazy and wasn't even addressing it. So the reason I bring some of that up is because our grief shows up in different ways. It shows up in different ways that we need to have validated. We need to address, we need to deal with it before we can do better, or feel better, not do better. So all of this served me like a pissed off porcupine. I was not healthy. I was not at a point of being ready to date. And so again, this was all part of that process through the 18 months following my late husband's death. I gotta say, I was a hot mess. I overcompensated. I was super defensive. I was kind of bitchy and certainly depressed and sad. I'm sure you guys can all relate with that. So as a result, my gut came to a complete halt. Not a pretty picture, right? I had pain in my stomach, my middle area, for so long. I was uncomfortable all the time. That started massive inflammation and a subsequent fibromyalgia diagnosis. So I didn't have anybody to lead me through the grief steps. Really, I was searching and searching and searching and looking for ways to make myself stronger and happier and healthier, but it was super clunky. It was super clunky. And the inflammation was from trauma and stress, and it was at an all-time high, and I knew I had to do something. So when we're stressed out and not sleeping on a sleeping well on a consistent basis, our cortisol levels spike. That causes weight gain, usually in the belly area, and off the chart inflammation, which causes disease. And none of us want to have those diseases that we know it causes. And I will say, I added this, and I'm reading my notes. I still am fighting to heal my gut biome, the healthy part of my stomach. So here's what I did. So number 1 was time. Number 2 was addressing the grief and honoring it and recognizing it. I worked with a naturopathic doctor. So I have actually 2 or 3 doctors that were very expensive, trying to heal me and get me moving, my stomach, and I mean literally moving. And so I was desperately looking for answers and results. I wanted to feel good so bad. I'm like, my friends call me positive Polly. Or Pollyanna. I have something good to say about everything and everybody, but I really was beginning to be miserable. And so I was desperate to find my happy self again. Again, I worked with a naturopathic MD, and this prompted me to get certified in amino acids, which are something that our body naturally produces, but sometimes it gets off kilter and our neurotransmitters become depleted. And when that happens, that's when we can't sleep. That's when we gain weight. That's when we don't have any energy. So lots of things that are going on physically can manifest and make us think it's part of grief. It's all super messy and intertwined. And so that really was a huge turning point for me. And restoring those neurotransmitters, it's not like an antidepressant where you kind of have to stay on it forever. It's more of, take this for a month or 2, and it really can turn your life around hugely. So it's the endorphins, the dopamine, the catecholamines, and the GABA. And those are 4 areas that really resonated and worked well for me. So if you have any desire for more information about that, we can talk about that as a sidebar. That's not what this Facebook Live is about, but I just kind of wanted to put that out there because that was one of the big key components that I used to turn my life around. So the amino acids hugely help with my sleep, my moods, and my energy. Next, I was super excited to work with a health coach. It's the best thing I ever did. I told her I wasn't there to lose weight, even though I had completely lost sight of what a healthy weight was, because I had packed on 30 pounds and I just thought, whatever, man, this is not the worst problem I have, you know? And so I remember telling her, I'm not here to lose weight. That's silly. I just want to have more energy. I want to add to the things that I've done that are good and start to really, really feel completely better. So I also told her that if I couldn't drink wine on my new plan, that I wasn't going to participate. And I didn't even drink that much wine. I had a glass or 2, maybe 3 times a week, nothing huge. And it was funny because she said, whatever, drink your wine. And we had great results. I really didn't realize how crappy I was still feeling, even though I had started feeling so much better. So I worked with her for 6 months. I bought a 6-month coaching program. I lost 30 pounds. I got down to 19% body fat. And when she told me that was the goal, I'm like, I don't want to be that skinny. That's silly. I don't want to be. She says, it's not about being skinny. It's about taking your fat off and restoring your lean muscle mass. And I did. I looked so good. I felt so good. It was amazing. And so that's some of the best money I ever spent. And I need to send her a message and tell her that again. Tons of energy, tons of confidence. From that, I got licensed as a certified holistic health coach. And I really love everything mind, body, and soul. And so that really was exciting for me. And I went to school for that and love it. Love, love, love. Next thing is I started walking. I started moving my body. When we move our body emits this chemical, the endorphins that I was talking to you about. And it's like, you've heard the runner's high. I'm not a runner, but I love the runner's high, and that's exercising and getting those endorphins flowing and getting those better moods to show up on a daily basis. So that when I started walking, that's when the magic of all my hard work really struck metaphorical gold. That's when I really felt my best. So then I added weightlifting. This is another step. And I signed up for a 5K, which I always think is funny because everybody I know, whether they're divorced or widowed but ready to get back out there, it's so funny. I can name 10 people that have signed up for a 5K. And it's just, I call it being in the 5K zone, because you are ready to put yourself out there. I'm not a runner, but I wanted to do it. It was fun. It was called a neon run. It was at night. We drank beer beforehand. We drank beer after. It was a blast. I hated the run though. I hated that. I never do that again. I'm not a runner. I don't want to run. Anyway, some people are. I know Jenny is. Is she here? Jenny's our runner. Anyway, maybe all of you are. Maybe some of you are. I'm not. What else? So then, with all my newfound health and hugely improved mindset, I was ready to tip my toe into the water of online dating. And I knew my married friends could not be expected to continue to entertain me. And a couple of them we were girlfriends that we'd get together for girls' night for dinner or whatever, go to a concert or a play. And so thankfully I had those kind of girlfriends when my husband died. So I maintained those relationships even though they were married. But I was like, I just want my own companion. I want to have, steady companionship. And I don't want to get in a serious relationship, but I'm ready to meet somebody. So on a Sunday afternoon, I poured myself a glass of wine. I cuddled up on the couch and I had the dogs by me and everything was feeling good. And I had energy and my clothes were fitting really good. Life was pretty good. I poured myself a glass of wine. Did I already say that? I needed the liquid courage. Again, I'm not a huge drinker, but I like a glass of wine. I'm going to have one later tonight. Anyway, and I got online and I created my very first online dating profile. So that was the next step. So having a career in corporate personal development, AKA soft skills, leadership, customer service, communication, et cetera, all of those things for more than 20 years, that's what my career was. Working in that world, really with world-renowned speakers and authors, I learned a ton. And so I put my writing skills to work and communication skills to work, and I wrote a very compelling dating profile. It's one of my gifts. I've done that for a few of my friends, and it's really made a difference in their dating life and relationships. What else? Oh, I posted some pictures that showed that I like to have fun. And then I perused the men that were a match for me, which is so funny, but it's kind of true. There's this algorithm that puts you in with the right people, apparently. Anyway, I liked a few dozen profiles, just clicked like on it or whatever. And then I waited, I shut it off and went on about my business. On Monday, the next evening, I made a comment on one man's profile and I said, "Nice smile," air quotes. And he immediately replied back and said, "I was just about to say the same thing of yours." And I thought, oh, how fun. I got my heart fluttering and I was super excited. And I'll tell you guys, the flutter I felt, I had not felt in more years than I cared to admit. So again, I'm reading my notes because I had so much fun writing this whole story out, 6 pages of it. I'll go quick. So we chatted online for a few days and then we talked on the phone briefly because that is a must-have. Ladies, if you're on dating profiles, do not meet men unless you've spoken with them on the phone. And here's what happens. It's a must. It's a must to be safe, and it's a must to avoid getting scammed because those scamming beepity beep beeps are out there. And I don't want you guys to get scammed. They see the word widow and they think, oh, desperate woman, she might have life insurance, da 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 da. They really target widows. So just be careful. Talk to them on the phone. So then we went ahead and we met. We decided to go out for a nice tea in a very public place. And I was nervous. I mean, I hadn't dated in over 20-something years. And after talking for 2 hours, he asked me if I wanted to go grab dinner. And the answer was yes. Hell, yes, I did. I really liked him. So we had such a good time. We both had listed on our dating profiles that Mexican food was our favorite food, and off we went. We walked along the outdoor mall. We didn't get in anybody's cars and found the only Mexican food place nearby, and we ate and talked for 3 more hours. It was outside. It was March in Arizona. It was beautiful. We really spent a lot of time chatting. So anyway, honestly, when I started writing this story, you guys, my heart started fluttering. I was like, oh, I love that feeling. It's like the best high ever. Thinking back to those sweet talks, getting to know each other sends a warmth throughout my whole body 6.5 years later. It really did. It really does right now. So to be clear, I met up with several other men and he dated other women, because you don't meet somebody and have 2 dates and then decide you're going to take your profile down and be exclusive. That's just silly. It is. That's intimidating for one or the other partner. If you want to do it, he won't. And if he wants to, you won't. You need to take time. Take time. What the hell's the rush? So to act like there was an exclusivity that soon would be ridiculous. That's my point. We both were open and forthcoming that we were still going on first dates. Heck, I needed some horror stories to add to my repertoire of stories. So I sure have them. I have those crazy horror stories, but that's not what this is about. There are a lot of men out there that are pigs, and I hate to label a human being a pig, but there are, you guys. I wouldn't send my worst enemy on a date with some of the men that I met. Yeah. But they were cute on their picture, but certainly not who they pretended to be. So over the course of the next month, we went on tons and tons of dates. I mean, tons. We went to the movies. We went to impromptu lunches when we're both out working in the valley, dinners, picnics, concerts, meeting in a park and just holding hands. And then finally, and this is kind of embarrassing, because not embarrassing, but I'm like, wow, thinking back to it. after 14 dates, we finally kissed. And so I'm not going to lie, I was ready for kisses after about 6 or 7 dates, but Mike set the pace and treated me like a complete princess from day one, and he still does. He opens my door everywhere we go. He's amazing. I love him. So we didn't become fully intimate for another 10 dates. So we knew each other for a good 3 months. We had dates almost every day. That sounds kind of crazy, but we did, whether it was a quick lunch or a quick coffee, whatever, but we had tons of dates before we ever became fully intimate. So here's the thing. Here's why I say don't rush. Leading up to all of this, it was so fun and mysterious. And why would I want to shortchange myself of the glorious phase in those early months? Because that is so much fun when you start to really like somebody and talk about endorphins releasing, right? So it was worth the wait. It was worth the wait to know that we wanted to be in a committed relationship and happy together. So fast forward to 6.5 years later, we are so in love. We are so happy. We feel so blessed to know each other, because my life, I feel like I had a good childhood, but my life was hell. Tons of loss. And anyway, man, it's been hard. So I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I get to have Mike in my life. And I know my dating story is fast-tracked, how amazing it is that my very first match date was my forever man, as long as God's willing. I've been able to take my ample experiences and turn them into my dream job. And in this case, my dream business, which is Renegade Widow, and now the program that is being launched, The Dating Widow. So that's what all of that is born from, is my loss and my wins and rewards and finding the man in my dreams. So that's my story. That's what I did. I'm going to recap it because I really want to emphasize what is so important. Number one, time. First and foremost, I gave myself time. It was so needed. I agree that it was not, I agree that it's not the same for everyone. There was a gal, and I'm sorry, I don't remember your name, but you've thinking about seeing someone after 3 months. If that's what you want to do, then do it, but go into it for the right reasons, not because you're desperate or because you need somebody, but because you want to go into it for the right reasons. I recommend taking more time. I do. In our society, we rush everything. We want those instant results, that instant gratification. And that's not healthy. That does not serve us, period. So, again, I know it's not the same for everybody, but time really can heal those wounds and help you to be healthier and stronger and smarter. Those layers of grief and all of our experiences bring those layers of compassion and understanding and strength and fortitude. So don't rush it. Don't rush it. Okay, so I knew numbing and shoving my emotions deep down to get stuck would bite me in the ass years later if I had not dealt with it right. And that was the case with my sister when she died at age 20, and with my brother when he died at age 32. Two big tragedies, years apart. Number two, support. I had support in several modalities. We talked about that. I went to I think we did I skip it? I went to a grief group, Grief Share, which is for not just widowed women and men. It's for everybody that has experienced loss. And so that was good and it was helpful, but I knew that it wasn't quite the right fit for me. And I really was in tune with what I needed. And so I went out looking for it, and I found a group for widowed women and widowed men. And we're still friends all these years later. And some of them, not all of them, of course. But so anyway, figure out what you need. I had a grief counselor when my husband died, and then I had another grief counselor when my son died, a year and a half after my husband. And so I'm all about it. I'm all about counselors. I'm all about support groups. I'm all about, are you guys laughing? Can you drop a smiley face if you're laughing at me? Because I thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, I'm all about getting the help we need. And that's why I hired 2 different coaches. And now I have 2 different business coaches, because I really am a believer in support. So number 3, that naturopathic doctor that we talked about. Number 4, the health coach, and I worked with her for 6 straight months. Number 5, exercise. Moving my body gave me inner confidence and outer confidence. When we move our bodies, again, that releases those endorphins. And you know, not everybody wants to go to the gym. I don't love the gym. It's okay. If I have a workout partner that I'm meeting at the gym, it's okay. But I'd rather work out at home. I use my body for weight. I have a hand set of weights. I have this weight, I think it's 12 pounds. And I get plenty of good workouts. I love to walk outside when the weather permits, and we're going to have tons of that here in Prescott. And so walking is my jam. I love it. It helps me to get that confidence and that energy that I need to hold myself up. I'm a solopreneur. My office is in my house. And so I need to hold myself up and make sure that I'm taking care of myself with those healthy rituals and routines. So number 6, and I don't think I mentioned this before, but meditation is so good for us. It's what keeps me feeling balanced and helps me hugely with focus. So during my 18 months of my healing sojourn, I also joined a meditation class, and I love that, and I do it at home now. So if you haven't done that, I would recommend looking into YouTube and just Googling, on YouTube, searching for different meditations. Find one that resonates with you and try it. You'll love it. Lastly, the last step is I got onto Match.com and I wrote my killer profile, if I do say so myself, because writing is my jam. I love to write. So suffice it to say, I spent many thousands and thousands of dollars in my very clunky healing journey. Now, that said, you may not have all the health issues that I have had. And so you might not need to do that. But if you do, there's ways to do that. I did it the wrong way. I did it where I spent it throwing money at, kind of like at pipe dreams. Some of it worked and some of it didn't. I spent, again, thousands and thousands of dollars to try to feel better. I feel so grateful that I found that health coach, and I found the different people that I worked with so that I could be me and be happy. All of this gave me my life back. Again, I know our stories are different in so many ways, but there are also awful lot of similarities in widowhood, right? Okay, out of all of that, I've created 2 signature programs, Renegade Widow, which is my business, and the Dating Widow, and I love what I do. And so I really encourage each of us. I think when you go through a trauma of losing your husband and all of the things that come along with that loss, I think it's important to really love what you do. And so I encourage you to, that doesn't mean go out and quit your job or anything like that, but find out what makes you passionate. Maybe you can take a painting class or do a 5K or, join a yoga group, whatever. But just find what makes you happy. I'm going to open it up for questions. We took about 30 minutes for this. Tell me about what questions you have, and I'll go back and try to look it through everything and see. Let's see if I can. Oh, it's not letting me scroll. Terry Ann coming up on 3 years. This is Constance. Since spouse went home to heaven, so glad I stumbled on your site. Yay! Oh, Queen Creek. I used to be super close to you in Chandler, but now I'm up in Prescott. Yay, Constance. Thanks for sharing that. Carolyn. Oh, I'm so beautiful. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm going to just take that. Anyway, going on, Carol Foley, going on 5.5 years still, have really bad days, but trying to move on. Okay, honey. Carol, I want you to start exercising. Get out and walk. Hire a coach. I have a widow's coaching program. More than anything in the world, whatever it takes, don't let you live your life out in misery. Please, that's not just for Carol, that's for everybody. Dee Dee, Carol Foley, I am at 5.5 years too. Glenda, hello, my hero. Aw, thank you, Glenda. You're so sweet. You've been giving me all kinds of love today. Dee Dee, my next goal, getting to the gym. For me, that's getting myself out there. And you know what, Dee Dee, that's good. If you're still listening, that's totally cool. I did belong to a gym because I needed that energy. I needed to be around people with more, you know, that had energy. And so that was a good way to do it. So any other questions, thoughts, comments, feedback, snide remarks, give it to me, all of it. If not, I'm going to go ahead and log off. And I thank you guys, everybody, for showing up. I appreciate all of your support. I hope this is helping. I'm going to let you know, I will be announcing the Dating Widow program, which will be a group coaching program, and we'll go over all kinds of details. And if you think that's something that you want to do, I'll have some pretty good specials so that it's affordable and that it is something that many, many of you can participate in. So I wish you all a great day. And if you're not on my email list, let me know so that I can add you, and so that I do lots of blogging and emails that help, and, you know, different things that I like to share that I know have helped me in my journey. So God bless. Have a good night, you guys. Take care.